What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. And, I know that there are varying opinions around Elon Musk. I don't think that he's necessarily our friend. Okay, he's still a billionaire who lives by just a different set of rules entirely. But I do agree with him on many issues. Now, whether or not you like his Teslas or not, that's not for this particular video. He has made some very interesting comments about Starlink, of which I am a customer, by the way. A lot of people don't know this, but I'm moving in a month and I'm moving to the middle of nowhere. So my ability to upload videos is either me spend $35,000 plus $2,200 a month for a dedicated fiber line, which I can't do, or use satellite internet, which would make my business, which would end my business effectively. It's so slow. And Starlink is going to be fine. It's going to be like, I think my speeds here are like 200 down and like 25 up. But once business class rolls out, it'll be 400, 500 down and 40 to 80 up. And I'll be totally fine. And that'll be later this year. So I'm thankful for a lot of the things that Elon has done. Most importantly, his understanding of memes and his commitment to free speech. And this latest tweet and statement kind of reinforces all of that. All of this after a quick word from this video's sponsor, Private Internet Access. Huge shout out to this video's sponsor, Private Internet Access VPN. Look, it's 2022. Everyone should be using a VPN by now. They unlock content, they provide an immense amount of privacy, and much more. From a privacy standpoint, not using private internet access would be like forgetting to mute yourself on Zoom and then talking about your coworkers. For a unblocking content worldwide, watching Netflix without private internet access is like paying for an entire spa day, but only getting a facial. Private internet access unlocks content, it adds an extra layer of protection, it conceals your internet traffic, your true IP, yours alone. You can access your favorite content, region-locked content. There are thousands of worldwide server locations, and I've been working with private internet access so long, they have a massive discount for you, my subscribers, when you use the link in the description or in the pinned comment down below. So get protected, get access to all the content you deserve, and save huge by using my custom link in the description or pinned comment down below to get private internet access today. VPN is a great way to get unfettered access to a lot of things that are geo-locked or put behind various protections and things like that. So, now's probably a good time to get one. Elon Musk says Starlink will not block any kind of news outlets, Russian news outlets, despite requests from, quote, some governments. SpaceX CEO Elon Musk says the company won't comply with government requests to block access to Russian media outlets via its satellite internet-based Starlink internet service. By the way, a very dangerous precedent would be set here. Very dangerous. Because these are websites that would be getting blocked at the ISP level. This isn't like, this is like seriously authoritarian and scary censorship stuff. Yes, there is propaganda put out by the Russian state-run media. There's also official verified Chinese delegate Twitter accounts that push out nonstop propaganda. People have to be able to determine the difference. Like, our own government in the United States pushes out plenty of propaganda and always has. Quote, Starlink has been told by some governments, not Ukraine, to block Russian news sources. We will not do so unless at gunpoint, Musk says. Sorry to be a free speech absolutist. Russia's invasion on Ukraine and its state media attempts to spread, quote, disinformation about the conflict has led to increased scrutiny of publishers associated with the Russian government. Are you joking? Obviously, I am sympathetic to the Ukrainian citizens and all the Russian citizens who do not support this conflict. But let's not pretend that Ukraine isn't pushing out tons of propaganda too. The ghost of Kiev, where'd that come from? The Snake Island soldiers, which are now alleged to be alive, who pushed that out? The videos of military victories that were from 10 years ago, who pushed that out? That wasn't Russia. Why would Russia do that? So are we going to block, where's the line? The stuff that our government ran unknowingly. How many major news outlets ran the stories about the Ghost of Kiev? I did a video on the Ghost of Kiev. I didn't know it was fake. So, I mean, where does it end? There's a difference between applying labels to such content, which is supposed to help people be more informed, and blocking access to that content on the networking level. Musk's tweet makes it clear that SpaceX does not have any interest in crossing that line with Starlink. The company is dealing with more than just requests to block Russian state media, however, with Musk saying that, quote, some Starlink terminals near conflict areas were being jammed for several hours at a time. Some governments make requests, others jam signals. So, of course, he's probably saying the Russians were doing that, right? Musk says that Starlink's latest software update bypasses the jamming. He also says that, in a way, this is a free QA test, haha, which might be the most nonchalant response to signal jamming in a conflict zone to date. SpaceX will continue to combat these efforts to interfere with Starlink. And of course, on Twitter, it's rare, but you saw a lot of support for this because, look, there's very few times now that someone is bold enough to say, look, I'm not getting involved. I'm not stopping free speech. 500,000 likes, well, 430,000 call it. It's nuts. And you see a lot of people like Danny, he's a comedian, very nice guy. How dare you make people figure out stuff on their own? Censorship is a losing strategy. Yeah, I mean, everyone's just going to VPNs now, which is why I thought it was a good video to put private internet access in there. Huge respect. You see, Sky News Team's harrowing account of their ambush in Ukraine. Russia on free speech and free speech. We know that Russia is not in support of free speech. We know this. So why is that like supposed to be an issue that Elon Musk has to handle? We know that North Korea does not have freedom of press. We know that we know that China does not have freedom of press. We know that many nations don't. But why is that a reason to say, well, I mean, Russia doesn't have it, so why don't block them? Why don't we block them? That's the equivalent of being a child and saying, well, they did it first. Two wrongs make a right, they think. You see, you are sorely mistaken if you think there's any innocent on this topic. Both the Western countries and the Eastern countries are really happy to gut free speech if it serves their own purposes. 100%. 100%. This is why I support Gab, and like you see Gab, Odyssey on here. You're the kind of man that would have helped free the slaves, a truly good and humble man. Honored to see you on Team Free Speech. I don't know, that's kind of a bold statement to make. Elon, you're not describing the concept of, quote, free speech. Free speech is a liberty to say something without fear of punishment by the state. Meanwhile, the Russian state news is quite literally blocking different opinions, plus the government is criminalizing criticism of it. Free speech doesn't mean private companies have to platform you. It doesn't mean anyone has to listen to your opinions or pay for them. This is not a difficult concept. Well, it sounds like that's a really smart way of writing that you're pro-censorship. Yeah, maybe it isn't specifically a freedom of speech issue, but it's close enough. And I think that there's a lot of screeching. Russian news sources are for free speech. You let us know when you find that Russian media, quote, free speech. Like, these people are having a meltdown. Like, it's so scary to me that these people call themselves liberals. It's so much has changed, in my 38 years on this planet. Like, when I was young, I proudly called myself a liberal. And, like, two of the core tenets I had were anti-corporation and anti-censorship, and anti-war, really. Those were my 3 core tenets. Now it seems like they're literally the opposite on that side. He is helping Ukraine by providing Starlink. He didn't have to, but he did. What have you done except trolling on Twitter? You see, Ukraine is actually dealing with reality at gunpoint while you pretend you're some pinnacle of enlightenment. This doesn't make you the hero you think it does. 1,000 likes. Like, people just hate Elon. I mean, Elon even said, that, look, we need to increase oil and gas production. Although everyone worshipped him for saying that, but you don't have to be like a 400 IQ person to see that. And it's actually insane, like how quick he got them the terminals, provided them the internet. I've been on the waiting list for over a year. I didn't complain though, although I did think, was my unit in that army truck, that army cargo truck? I think Elon, you can be critical of some of the things he's doing, especially there's a weird story going around about his Neuralink testing that's extraordinarily concerning, if true. But also, like, the dude, I think, is by far better. He is far more good than evil. And he is one of the few people with the money and the resources to stand up against stuff like this. Like, he literally did, quote unquote, go make his own internet, so to speak. He didn't have to do Starlink. Satellite internet was fine for the people that needed it. But Starlink is a better option. And, like, I'm not sure how much money he is or isn't going to make on it, but that's irrelevant. I am glad that he supports free speech, and I'm glad that the censorious lunatics on Twitter are having a meltdown about it. Make sure you take the opportunity today to pick up your private internet access at a massive discount using the link in my description or pinned comment below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.